target customers are mostly, like tourists coming into Japan, right? So a lot of times the plans are like for 1 month or 3 months or something like that. But there are
Hmm.
a couple of offerings, a couple of companies that offer long-term things, right? And if like me, I rarely use the telephone. I mean, if I call home, I generally call on, since we both have iPhones, it's generally, the FaceTime, FaceTime I
Hmm.
call on, which is data, so and texting, uh, is mostly, going through the text apps or whatever, is data and so on. So actual
Hmm.
telephone minutes I hardly need. So if you're just going to buy data, you can get a fair amount of data for a relatively low price if you buy one of those sims that you can do it kind of the Philippine style, where you buy the sim and then you can buy load, they call it, by charge up the sim.
Yeah, interesting. I did that in Cambodia when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think about it here because I'm just right, just day by day. I'm just using the phone as right. So, but I might think about that. Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, especially now I'm trying to cut corners as much as possible, and like I said, I guess for work I really need to have a telephone number. For a lot of things I need to have a telephone number, but
Hmm.
um, like get the absolute minute, don't get any prepaid minutes, because I basically I need the phone to receive telephone calls more than make calls. I mean, I go months without actually making a telephone call. you
Same
know
with me.
you know
The only
uh,
person I call probably is you,
oh,
and
oh,
my
lucky me.
wife. Yeah, I know. Look you. See, right on. There you
Yeah.
go.
um
And 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 my wife here and there, and other things too.
mm.
Uh, but yeah, so um,
Your
but
wife
yeah,
and other
we
things, huh?
uh, you know, necessary things like calling dentist offices
Mm,
and whatnot, making
yeah,
appointments for this and that. That's the only thing I really use a phone for.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I very rarely use my landline. I call my mom on a landline.
Hello, Candy.
Hello, Candy. Hey, what's
Yeah.
up?
I call my mom on. I call her on FaceTime now because she's got an iPad at home.
Yeah. I call my mom FaceTime too on her iPhone. Does your mom have a grand pad? One of those
She
big
had
letter?
one, but she gave it up.
Really? So she's back
Yeah.
to an iPhone or an
Well, see, the
iPad?
the problem was, I mean, with so the GrandPad is really good if you're
Hmm.
in a location where they have coverage. But see,
Hmm.
with my mother, where my mother lives, she was outside of the cellular coverage area for GrandPad, and so she had to use Wi-Fi within her home. So basically, she was using it as as a Wi-Fi based tablet, which GrandPad in that regard is not necessarily the best, because you still had to pay a monthly fee to GrandPad, because I mean they do provide certain services and so on, right? But
Hmm.
nothing really all that much. But it was like, what was it? It was like $15 a month or something like that. And that was
Hmm.
in addition to the Wi-Fi that was, so if you're just paying that $15 a month and you've got the cellular coverage, I think it would be a good deal. And I think she would
Hmm.
have continued to be happy with it. But, now she kept her Wi-Fi, got an iPad, you pay for it once. There's no monthly fees, right? Just a monthly fee for the Wi-Fi, but no monthly fee for the iPad, and she can do everything that she did before and more.
There you go. Well, that's better then. It's better for her then,
Yep.
in this case. Yeah, my mom's problem. My mom has an iPad and an iPhone. Her problem is she got arthritis, and
Mm-mm.
her fingers are all twisted
Mm-mm.
and crumpled up. It's very sorry, right, to see.
Right.
But she
Yeah.
can't push buttons very well. Yeah, so
Okay.
this
Yeah.
this is one problem she has. But although we do FaceTime, and she does very very well.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Very.
GrandPad, I mean, it has, it's a tablet, like probably an 8-inch tablet. It's not a big one, probably about an 8-inch
Mm,
tablet. And on the screen of that 8-inch tablet, you've only got like 2 or 3 buttons. I mean, you can scroll over. There's altogether maybe 6 or 8 buttons on there for like telephone calls and music and looking at photographs or things like that, right? But each
Mhm,
button
mhm.
is a large size, right? So I mean, you could almost use your elbow to tap the buttons.
Oh, that's good. I might need that myself.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
my dementia starts kicking in.
right. Yeah,
Well, let's hope that's not for a long number of years, a large
yeah,
number of years.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my wife, my mom, not my wife, my mom's boyfriend.
Your wife's
She's
boyfriend.
80.
Okay, it came out. Yeah. Okay.
I changed it. I caught it. I changed it there. But yeah. Who knows? I am here at work and she's home alone now. No.
Alone, right? Yeah.
Uh, my mom's boyfriend. She's 85 and she has a boyfriend, right? She's got a beau. And they've been together for, I guess, about 15 or 16 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Uh, yeah, he was a remodeler. He had a contracting company and was doing some work in the house and kissed her in the hallway. And that's
Wow.
after my dad was gone, of course, and
Mhm.
that's what happened with that. And one thing led to another.
Wow.
He developed cancer actually of the spleen. Yeah,
Wow.
like a couple of years ago. So he was on medication. Yeah, and then it just metastasized to his bones. Yeah, it just moved to the
Wow.
bones. So he's got bone cancer, which is not so good.
Not good at all. Not good at all. Yeah. Wow.
No,
That's too
not
bad.
good at all. In a lot of pain. So it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Let's
Speaking of
see
people, yeah.
what happens.
So
Yeah.
one of my favorite people passed just recently, Ed Asner.
Oh, did he really? Darn, I don't know
Yes.
if I heard
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Okay, he's a
90,
great guy.
91
Yeah,
years
great
old.
actor.
So
Wow. Okay. Right.
you remember the old
Asner.
Mary Tyler
Mary
Moore
Tyler
show,
Moore
right?
show. Sure,
Right.
of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course later on he was in his own show, Lou Grant, right? But
Right. Yeah.
from the Mary Tyler Moore show, all the main characters now have passed except one, and you know who that is?
No, I don't. Mary Tyler Moore herself.
No, Betty White.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sure.
99 years old. Betty White.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Wow.
She's
That's
got another
amazing.
99 left in her,
99.
I'd say. Yeah.
She does, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Wow. What's she doing now? I haven't heard about her in a long time.
I don't know. I mean,
She's surviving.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. It was funny. So
living a good life.
Her last birthday, I remember it wasn't. When was her birthday? Time goes by. I can't. But whenever her last birthday was, her 99th birthday, Ed Asner sent her, a birthday greeting. I saw that. I think he or she, one or the other, retweeted it or something like that. But yeah, as a happy 99th birthday. But then he at 91 passed on just last week or the week before. Yeah, it's recently here.
Darn, that's too bad. I didn't hear about that one.
Now you heard about Charlie Watts.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, too bad too, right? Charlie Watts, what a great drummer. Very humble guy and very good drummer, and too bad. Really too bad. People are leaving us, Dan.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going by the wayside, checking out, which is too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could, I mean, the alternative is that you live forever, and I'm not sure that's a good thing.
I don't know if I would want to.
Right. I mean, I've thought about that, and my absolute favorite show of all time, The Good Place.
Yes.
That kind of touches on that. It's like, okay, so heaven, I mean, for those that believe in heaven, that or there's, life, some kind of existence after death, right? What kind of existence could that be that it wouldn't actually end up being torturous? I mean, I mean, at least
Yeah.
from our human perspective, we can't appreciate warmth unless we've felt cold. We can't appreciate the good times unless we've experienced something less good, at least, or bad times. I mean, so if you're, I mean, the typical, the stereotypical image of heaven is that it's eternal bliss and that you're always happy. How does that work? I can't imagine that, I mean, the human mind certainly
Yes.
couldn't do that.
Yeah. No. Good question.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, they say it's like free from pain and free from evil, right?
Right.
Uh,
So so
so,
so free from pain,
but
free
no,
from evil, but I mean, it just seems to me that, I mean, right now our intellects are kind of blind, have blinders on, how are hemmed in by our physical, abilities, our physical brains and so on, limited. So kind of, one of the images that I had, was that we would understand, more after we die. We go to heaven and it was, oh, I understand the plan now. I get it, right, kind of thing.
mhm.
So if you understand all that stuff, so
Well, that's
now,
what some people believe. Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I mean, but not everybody. I mean,
Right, right.
yeah.
But, if
But
I mean, I guess, learning, right? I mean, so if that's wrong, if that one image is wrong, that you don't understand everything, but that, now is when your education really begins. I guess theoretically you could. I mean, but I don't even see how that could happen. How can you learn forever, right? I mean, again, we're talking about
or
infinite amount of time. Yeah.
yeah, so this gets back to your question of wouldn't living for such a long time and how to make that not torturous, right? You're
Right,
saying, right?
right.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon an interesting notion there of learning something new.
Mhm.
Right, absolutely. That would keep it from being torturous, but also, changing something somehow.
Mm, mm,
Uh, Not only learning, but changing something somehow, some dynamic in
mm,
the existence of humanity might alleviate that, right?
mm. Yeah.
That torturous uh, thing there, right?
Yeah.
Although I don't know what that would be. To change to what? Of course, learning. I mean, you could learn forever, and then you would know everything, right? So then you might not learn anything new, or not be able to learn anything new.
Right. Yeah.
But
I
could
mean,
you change somehow? Something would have to change, maybe. Yeah.
well, I mean, I guess in a way things are always changing, so, but again, the idea of an infinite amount of time, right? So time, if time
Right.
never ends and that goes on forever, right? I just can't see how it would work, that, that you could continue to learn, or things could continue to change forever. I mean, it seems to me that, given, again, our finite, understanding of physics and so on, that there, that, I mean, of course it's a
Yeah.
huge amount, but there are a
Well,
limit to the number of different orientations that matter could possibly be in. So the arrangements would be
absolutely. And
finite.
it would be finite. And then, we have to ask, what is forever? Is there a forever? And what does
Right,
forever mean? Right.
right,
So
right,
in our minds, it is finite. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I
So
don't think
yeah.
we can conceive of forever. Right.
Right, not at all. Yeah, we can't. I
Yeah.
can't conceive of infinity. I can't.
Yeah.
Of the infinity of space. That I can't conceive of that. I
Mm.
mean, the opposite, that it isn't finite, that there's a limit. That doesn't make sense either. So that's just a strange idea.
Right,
Um,
right, right. And then they say that the universe is expanding forever
mm,
or infinitely.
right,
It's very hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
right.
Like,
Yeah,
what
but
does that mean, right?
I was listening to it.
Yeah,
What's her name? Not Sabrina. That German physicist. Have you watched her YouTube at all? She's a German
I
physicist.
know who
She's
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
Not
yes.
Hoff. No, her name begins,
I don't
first
know
name
offhand,
S
but
and the last name H, but I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, she was talking about, some of the problems in physics now. The fact that, physics predicts uniform distribution of matter yeah, I mean, within limits, right? And
Mm-hmm.
of course there are clumps and so on. I mean, that's how we get suns and planets and stuff, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the the observation is that, I mean, the actual observer within the observable universe, there are areas that are much denser in matter than
Mm-hmm.
is predicted by the models that they have now. They say that that basically the chances of that happening are almost non-existent. They'd be that it just couldn't happen that way. That there would be
Mm-hmm.
these dense that actually we live in a relatively sparse area of the universe, and that some of these other areas that they're able to observe are much denser in the amount of matter in a given space, and they say that shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Interesting. I guess the mathematics kind of points to that,
right, right, yeah, yeah.
you
We've talked
know,
about that
and
before.
then
Mathematics, yeah,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it makes me wonder a bit about mathematics. I mean, you
mm,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
is it a human invention, a human creation, or right,
yeah.
like
Well, I
done
mean,
to create a certain outcome?
yeah. I mean, to me, the relationships. I mean, like you know, pi, for example. I mean, the
Yeah,
that. Mm,
I heard just briefly before you go on. I was listening to a podcast recently, and they some researcher in Europe worked out pi to like 64 million digits or something.
wow.
Some
Yeah.
unbelievable number, right?
Right.
And then the next question was why, right?
Right.
Why
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
why did they do that, right? And you don't need to go that far with pi,
r-
right? There's only
Right.
a certain
Right.
finite number of digits you actually need. So, and that
Right.
was amazing to me. Anyway, please
Yeah.
continue.
Well, I mean, so pi represents, a ratio, really. The ratio of, the circumference of a circle to its diameter, or to its radius or diameter, right?
Hmm.
Um, so if that is the case, I mean, that relationship to me is a real relationship. I mean, that's not something that people invented. That relationship,
Hmm.
exists. But
Yeah, and
mathematics,
geometrically
right?
in
Yeah, exactly.
geometry. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But
Hmm.
the mathematics is basically, it's just the language that people use to talk about these relationships. You know,
Hmm.
and so in that way, it's as invented as any other language is. It's invented to the same extent that English or Japanese or Filipino or whatever is, right?
Or even
It's
music, maybe too. Then if you get to
exactly.
that level,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Now music. Yeah, music again, it's a language. I mean, those vibrations occur in nature. And the fact that they create certain sounds within us,
Vibrations and
right? It's
mhm,
just the
mhm,
vibrations.
mhm.
There is no such thing as sound. I mean, sound doesn't exist, right? Sound doesn't exist.
Right. It's our
Vibrations
perception
exist.
of
Right. Right. Exactly.
vibrations coming through the air that our
Right.
cochlea, you know,
It's just like
pick up and
colors don't exist. Colors don't exist. That's just
mhm.
vibrations in another part of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, that's right.
None of that really exists. So that's why you know I the famous philosophical question: if a fall trees in the forest is without anybody there
Did
without
you
anybody there, does it make a sound, right?
did you hear what you just said? You said if a fall trees in the forest.
Right. If a fall tree's in the forest, yeah.
If
In
a
my
tree
world, that
falls in the
happens.
forest.
In my world,
So
that
a fall
happens. Yeah.
trees. Hmm.
If a fall tree's in the
I've
forest,
never
yeah.
seen a
No.
fall tree.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
seen a
you've never
tree
seen a fall
fall.
tree? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah. If
Well,
a
I've seen
tree
a fall
falls,
tree
yeah.
in
Yeah.
fall
Okay.
in fall
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. So if a fall
No, if a
tree,
tree falls in this, if a tree falls, right, and no one's
right,
around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Is that what you're
right.
getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it
And
does. Of course, right?
no, a tree doesn't make a sound,
It doesn't make a
whether
sound
there's
because we're
anybody
not
there or not.
there to hear it. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
If
Okay.
someone
Yeah.
is there and they hear a sound, the tree didn't make that sound. The tree made vibrations, and
The vibrations came through
the
your ears, and your cochlea picked it up,
right,
and
and your
you
brain
perceived it
created
as
that
a
sound.
Right. You perceived it as a tree falling sound. Right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
Yeah.
that's interesting to me. Like deaf people, they do have cochlear implants now that
Uh-huh.
kind of can help deaf people hear now,
Right.
actually,
Right. Hmm.
which I find amazing
Yes.
and yeah, and
Yeah.
really fascinating and
They're
very
gonna do
useful.
that. They're gonna do that with eyes, and other senses too. I mean, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see, implants, ocular implants that are gonna allow blind people to see, or allow
Hmm.
people to see different parts of the spectrum. I mean, it may start out as
Yeah.
something. It may start out as something crude like Geordi on Star Trek. Geordi with the
Yeah.
visor, right?
Oh, yeah. Right. Sure. Yes. Uh huh.
Something like that. But yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, because people are not satisfied with these kind of limitations, especially if they're brought about by accidents. People that are born into that situation, maybe, I mean, they don't know what they're not experiencing. In the same
Hmm.
way that
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm not experiencing by not being able to see or experience uh, ghosts or whatever, right?
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
I don't have that ability, so
Although
I don't
people
miss it.
do, yeah,
Right,
do people do see these things, which is
right. That's my
it's
point.
also
That's my
fascinating. Yeah.
right. But that's
Right.
my
Yeah. Yeah.
point is that I don't miss
I
it.
don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't miss it
Right.
because I never had it. Right. So I don't see that as a detrimental lack
I don't
of
know
anything
if
because I lived fine without it.
I don't know if it's an actual ability to see ghosts. I think it's just something coming through that, right, that maybe it is an ability, but some people can see or perceive more than others.
Okay. Well, what if okay, you were born blind, right? And you have no
God forbid.
right, but okay, someone who's born blind, right? And people are talking about the way things look, I mean, that
Hmm.
would be
Hmm.
just as kind of an unbelievable, I mean, slowly over time you realize that everybody except you or a few people are able to have this ability to see, right? But what if it was the other way? What if most people were born sightless? In fact, there was a movie with Jason Momoa with that, or a movie or a series, called Seeing or something like that, where everybody,
Yeah, I remember that.
right, everybody is blind, and then there was a child born that could see, right? And they were like, everybody was skeptical of this, right? No, no, that can't be, and so on, right? But yeah, if the whole society, is a certain way, and there are a few individuals that aren't, that don't have that
Hmm.
particular ability, whether it's sight or hearing or taste or smell
Ghost
or
perception.
ghost, right? Ghost perception, extrasensory
Hmm.
perception,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Sensory perception. Hmm.
Right. Um, but yeah,
Interesting stuff. I mean, so would you rather have no sight or be blind or to be deaf? I have no hearing. What I mean, if you had a choice,
I think
just out of interest, yeah.
I think I would choose deafness over blindness. I think I would choose. I would rather have sight and no sound than sound and no sight.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's a tough question. I mean, I used to think that, but not being able to hear things like rain falling or birds chirping or music, I think that would be a huge loss.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
So
the
for
nature
everybody,
sounds. Yeah, nature sounds. I mean, that's a pleasurable thing, but I mean, but yeah, not being able to easily communicate verbally with other people would be the biggest, to me, the biggest detriment to deafness. I mean, yeah,
mhm,
not being able
mhm.
to appreciate, to hear music and the nature sounds and all the, yeah, I mean, that would be bad. That would reduce my pleasure level, but yeah, on a practical level, communication is so much easier, verbally than if you have to do
Yeah,
everything visually.
mhm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
true, true,
you,
true. And also, right,
yeah,
transportation or daily functioning without eyesight would be
mm.
difficult.
Right, right.
Granted, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You
Hmm.
live in your own home and somebody comes to visit and they move something, out of place. And then, the map you've got in your head is now, okay. You start stumbling over your own
Hmm.
furniture because somebody moved it around, or something. Yeah, that would be completely
Hmm.
frustrating for me.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh,
My mother,
definitely.
my
Little things
mother
would be very frustrating. Yeah.
my mother has really bad eyesight. She has macular degeneration. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
and so it starts out, like when she looks at people's faces, she can't see their faces very well. She can the images on the periphery are much better, but when she focuses on something, so it looks at somebody's face to see who it is, she has a hard time recognizing them.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
And too
yeah.
bad at the same time. My mom has no visual problems whatsoever.
Mm,
Yeah, she's got like perfect eyesight, and she also has perfect teeth. She
wow.
has all her original teeth,
That's
which I
nice.
find amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's in her 80s, and
yeah.
she does have arthritis, and she has muscular pain and whatnot, which is
Mm,
a detriment. But I mean, no eye problems, no teeth problems.
yeah. So I
That's
mean,
good.
we know that a lot of that is by our choices. I mean, both. I mean, our living environment as well as our nutritional choices and things like that. A lot of it is by
And
choices. But
genes.
right, yeah, that's what I was going to
Let
say.
her.
That genes are not
Okay.
choices. That was
Yeah.
that was my point. A lot of it is by
No, I mean,
choices,
no.
but a
You're
lot of it
saying
is
it's
right,
both, right? It's
right, yeah,
nutritional choices and genes, yeah,
right, yeah,
that
um,
that flow into that, right? And she's
right,
lucky; she has good genes. Hopefully, they flow down into me,
right,
or
right,
they are
yeah,
in me.
yeah.
Those kind of good
Um,
genes, yeah.
but you remember the movie Gattaca?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If that, I mean, and we see genetic manipulation going on, in our food chain and so on. They so far, I guess there's only been the one incident of a doctor actually doing gene manipulation on humans so far
Mm-hmm.
on the but that I would say is going to happen. I mean, as
Definitely.
as the knowledge base expands, and the number of people that are going to be able to acquire that ability, that technique expands, somebody's going to start messing around with humans, whether it's legitimate or not, whether it's legalized or not. So um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so then we're going to have to reevaluate things. If people are doing it and we can't stop them, then the better option is to try to regulate it. But so if that was the case, let's say we lived in a world like Gattaca, right, where you can go in and genetically manipulate the genome of your unborn child. They can go in there, read the genomic sequence, and say, oh, your child has a 76% chance of developing heart disease, or this, that, and the other thing. Would you want to go in and fix their genes?
Well, n- uh, now, I mean, in life and whatnot, if okay, if there's no chance that they will not have some problems in their lives and whatnot, or with their body and such, now I think in this day and age, I don't think I would.
No, no, no.
However,
We're
in the future,
mm,
I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, like, if everything was normal, I wouldn't go in now to improve anything. No,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
If there is a chance of, yes, having some syndrome or what have you, or right, I that's it's a hard call. I I still don't think I would now, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I would let nature take its course and
Right, and that was the opinion
yeah.
of what's his names of Ethan Hunt's or Ethan Hawke's
Ethan
Ethan
Hawke, yeah,
Hawke's, yeah,
Ethan Hawke.
his character. I can't remember his character's name
Hmm.
now, but that was his parents. When he was born, or when he was, uh, they said, "Oh, we're going to do it naturally." But by the time his younger brother was born, the society as a whole had come around to the idea that, oh, this is the better thing to do, to guarantee
Well,
that our
right.
children are going to
That
be
that's kind of what I was saying, trying to get at, like, yeah, now being everything that it is, right, societally, etc., right, I wouldn't, right, but right, yeah, in the future, who knows, yeah, maybe I would.
so you wouldn't do it now because it's unusual. I mean,
No, no, no,
what
no,
the
no, I wouldn't think of it now. I would think it would be good to let nature take its course. I mean, now in our world now, right?
No,
Just
but
looking
okay,
at everything around.
let's take our world now, but with the slight tweak that the genomic editing, this using CRISPR or talons or these other things that we've heard about, that they're doing in the on the food chain, but now they're ready, they have confidence they can sequence the human genome, they can pinpoint certain genes that indicate a genetic prevalence
Higher risk of some
occurrence. Yeah,
syndrome or
higher.
higher,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Right.
higher occurrence of
Okay. So,
something.
all right. So say they do that. They say, oh, your wife's pregnant, right? Okay. We can take a tiny drop of the embryonic fluid and run a genomic sequence, right, and tell you, if your as yet unborn child has any genetic risk factors. Would you want to do the test?
Do the test?
Yeah.
To find out?
Right.
I may want to do the test, although maybe not, and let nature take its course, right?
Now they can do.
I don't know. I'm not really that interested, in even like facelifting or Botox or these kinds of things, right? I don't know if that's actually a good idea either. Right. So maybe I would let nature take its course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's very tempting because
it is very tempting, of course. But
facelifts and Botox and things like that. I mean, that's like I got
to get my power cord. Keep going. I got to get my power adapter. Keep going.
All right. So the Botox and facelift and things like that seem like a bandage on the wound, whereas the genetic manipulation, the genetic editing, genome editing would actually be a fundamental fix of the problem, or even basically fixing the problem, fixing the problem before it ever happens. It's like
right. That's true.
It's like shoring up the building before the earthquake happens, right? It's rather than trying to repair the building after the earthquake has damaged it, you shore up the building, right, so that when the earthquake happens, there's no damage, right? So that's the genomic gene editing is like fixing it so that there will be no damage, right?
Right. Yes.
So they're really different things. Yeah, I would never.
They're different.
Never would consider. I mean, I could see reconstructive plastic surgery, in case of an accident or something like that, in order to make life easier. But cosmetic plastic surgery, no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So how about in the future? How about gene editing to stave off some problem or condition and whatnot, right? I think we both said maybe we wouldn't do that now. But how about in the future, like if everyone was doing it?
Well,
like
I mean, to me,
put like a smartness gene or what have you to increase brain activity or whatever it is, right? Or make someone run faster, etc. When everyone is doing it, right? Would you consider it in that case?
Well, if everyone's doing it, yeah, I probably would. But I mean, yeah, even before that, I mean, if it was a new technology and I was to me, I am satisfactorily, to my own standards, satisfactorily, assured that, it's not going to create more problems than it fixes, right? That, I have confidence in the technology, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point.
Then even if nobody else is doing it and it was offered to me for my child, I might do it. Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not give my child the advantage if I really had confidence that it's not going to create any problems for them?
Any further problems? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not? Make them more intelligent, make them healthier, make them longer living. I mean, even more than longer life, but with fewer health problems during their life. I mean, why wouldn't I? Would be my thought.
Yeah, I may do that. Yeah, if it's proven and everything works out well and there's no problems, I may do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right now, no.
No,
Right.
no, not now.
But
Not now.
in that track in the future, in some time and place, perhaps I would. Yeah.
But I tell you, I mean, of course, knock on wood, we may still be
Here you
alive.
go, Dan.
Yeah. We may still be alive when that kind of technology is,
Looking at
available.
how things are advancing, the increase of technological advances and so quickly too, and so suddenly, right?
Yep.
We may indeed be alive when these things come around. Yeah.
You've seen that guy, I've seen him on YouTube and so on, but some guy who's got I don't know if he's got a PhD in genetics or whatever, but he's more or less, he's got like dyed hair. He almost looks like a punk kind of guy, but he's, making up these genetic sequencing kits, right, that he'll send out to people so that they can make their own. And he's been injecting himself with the genetic material and stuff.
Yeah, I have seen that. I've seen that guy. Yes, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
so
It's a
so
little
we're
scary,
already
but
there. We're already
yeah,
there.
we're
So
already
now
there. Yeah,
now he's unique. But I mean, but like I said, that knowledge, that technology is just going to grow exponentially. And so in a short amount of time, there's going to be any number of people that are at his level or higher.
Yeah, exactly. There are people who have done CRISPR experiments, right, in their own homes, right, and well, he's one of them, but other people too, right? So yeah, it's coming. How about if you were on the verge of Alzheimer's disease or had a mild Alzheimer case and someone discovered that they could actually help you and increase your lifespan now or soon? Yes. Would you do that? Like say in the next 10, 12, 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, there's, some treatment for Alzheimer's, and yeah, I was suffering from it or on the verge of suffering from it. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? But that's a little different than genetic.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that up just because it's that just popped into my head. We were talking about the young guy, but I think I would too, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm really not ready to go yet, right?
Right. I mean, I'm not at all concerned about when I die. I'm more concerned about the quality of my life while I'm still living. And so I mean, yeah, I just as soon, run all the way up, and then, topple over, just suddenly, bam, I mean,
yeah,
it's anybody who might be listening who has knows someone or has family members that have died suddenly. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I mean, or especially, things like brain aneurysms. It's like you're fine and then bang, and you're just, you're gone like instantly. I mean, I could think of a lot worse ways to go. I mean, it's tragic. It's tragic, especially my ex-wife had I think a cousin, or maybe like a second cousin or something like that, in her early 30s, I believe, and just toppled over with a brain aneurysm. Just
gosh,
gone. Yeah.
Wow,
early
that's
30s,
really terrible.
30s, and just
Wow,
gone, right?
Very young, very young.
Well, that's the thing. Brain aneurysms. I mean, it's due to a weakness, in the blood vessels, right? And so, I mean, that weakness could, be there from birth, or
from birth. Yeah, exactly. So that's genetic, right? Basically.
Yep.
So
yep, absolutely.
Right. Yep. Too bad that no one discovered that, or maybe it's difficult to discover actually in the long run. So right, and then you don't know until it's too late, right?
Right. Yeah. But I mean, so that's another thing. I mean, if they could go in and find out, oh, your child, your unborn child has a high degree of likelihood to develop, weak cerebral
weak
brains, vessels in the brains, right? So So
blood vessels. Yeah.
right. So the chance of a brain aneurysm is very likely. Then would you go in and change, or have them edit the genes?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's true. In this case, I may.
Right. I mean, yeah,
Right,
I
and
think
if it's advanced, and if it's I may do that. Sure.
I mean, if this broadcast, if somehow this data survives, for the next 50 or 100 years or whatever, people are going to be laughing at that and say, these guys are so out of it. I mean, yeah, we do this all the time, man.
These guys are antiquated. Look,
that's right.
Is this the dinosaur age?
That's right. Yeah. These guys better watch out. T-Rex is going to come through the window here.
Yeah. I know they'll be like, yeah, that's old hat. We do that all the time. Did that last night.
Yeah. These guys are debating it, and it's like, hey, what's the debate? I mean, this is the way things are, right? And that it's going to come to that. It's going to be like that. Like Gattaca, are going to have that. So that's the most difficult part.
I think you're right. I think it's just a question of when, right? When, that's the whole question, isn't it? I don't disagree with you on that one.
Right, and the transition, and that, to me, that's the interesting part of Gattaca. So the guy, he was at the end of the era when the parents both still believed in natural birth, don't mess with the genes. And, at the very beginning of when, society had finally decided that, okay, everybody should be doing this, right? It's fine for everybody. So in that transition, the last group of people that or natural without the manipulation are going to feel, oh man, I missed out, or some of them are going to feel that way. Some of them are going to feel that, people now are an abomination, and they're going against nature and so on. But that's going to be, right, I think, a very tumultuous time,
Totally. I agree. It'll be a real tumultuous time. Yeah. Will we be alive for that, do you think?
There's a good chance. I mean, again, knock on wood there. I mean, in the next, there's no reason that we couldn't be around for the next 30, even 40 years. Right. And, so, I mean, 30 years, going back 30 years ago, that's 1980. 1981. I mean, looking at the technology in 1981 compared to the technology today, or 30 years ago. So, 1990.
30 something. So, yeah. I was going to say 40 years ago is 1980, right?
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to move my fan over here. My computer's getting a bit hot.
So 1991. I mean,
1991. Yeah. 30 years.
Basically, there wasn't an internet, really. I mean,
that's true. It was just the minor inklings of an internet, I think. I first heard about the internet in 1993.
Yeah, I mean, there was the ARPANET, and I mean, there was a network set up, computer communication going on. Between, for example, Europe and America, from different. Basically, it was. It started out military, and then soon, the educational institutions latched onto that. But it was, it was all text, and there wasn't any really graphical. There was no such thing as a graphical user interface. It was all, command line interface and so on. Very, very different type of thing than we're seeing now. And so now we walk around with computers in our pockets that are literally thousands of times more powerful than thousands of times more powerful than the computers that got us to the moon, right?
I know, right? Yeah.
What was it? I think it was,
and that was 50 years ago, right? And look how much they've advanced.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And how about the next 50 years? What's that going to look like?
Well, again, I mean, what worries me, I mean, things like implants. I mean, people are going to say, why do I have to carry this around? I mean, I'll just, get it, get it implanted, and that I mean, that bothers me a little bit. I mean, I guess,
Yeah.
that's my old style thinking, but still, yeah, I don't know. That's that.
It's
I think it's going to happen.
yeah.
I do. I think it's going to happen.
You just said, like, I don't know, like kind of six one way, half a dozen the other. And no, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a very natural way to react to that.
Yeah.
Me too. Absolutely. It's good and bad. It's got
Mm.
pluses and minuses, merits and demerits, and it's scary yet enticing all at the same time.
But cochlear implants, you would go for
Yeah,
those,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Right?
would, sure,
Yeah.
and absolutely, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
that's, so I mean, so right now, again, it's the same kind of thing. Right now, like our views on plastic surgery, reconstructive surgery, to replace something, or to reconstruct something that was damaged, or in some way, or through accident or disease or whatever, or for that. But cosmetic surgery simply, for beautification, only, or to make a person's look the more toward
mhm,
the image that they have in mind for themselves, we're against.
mhm.
But
Yeah.
so like these implants again, so someone who uh, does not, for whatever reasons, does not have the ability to hear, so we, you know, uh, the cochlear implants, we both seem to be on board with that. But if they develop technology that now allows us that increases our abilities, right? That
Mhm,
allows us
mhm,
to be able to do things that we normally couldn't do.
mhm. Yeah, right. Like run fast, in other words,
Run fast,
right?
see
Think
light spectrums, see
single light
infrared or ultraviolet,
spectrums,
right?
right? Because then our favorite colors would have no meaning, then, would they? Because we'd
Well, I
see
mean,
everything. Yeah, you could have
it's
a
hard to
favorite, I
imagine.
suppose, but
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how that would actually be implemented. I mean, because we don't have the ability to see, the beyond the we can't see what's beyond the visible light spectrum, right? Because it's only what's visible. But so it's always represented, shifting. So when they show infrared, they show it in some kind of colors and so on. But that's a false
mhm,
representation. That's not actually what it would look like. That's the interpretation put into the visual light spectrum, which would be obviously different and so
mhm,
on. So
mhm,
yeah.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
wow, this was kind of interesting.
Fascinating
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
Totally. Yeah. Got a little discussion into Gattaca there, and all kinds of
Yeah.
little interesting
Yeah.
things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. How much time you got left?
About 15 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
15 minutes. Oh, you're a busy boy today too.
Yeah, I gotta, yeah, get to that that thing I have to do.
You got to get to the thing you have to do. What was her name again? I mean, what
Uh,
were you?
Daniel. I wondered if there were any questions or if that was just going to be our total talk. Well, okay, bring them up. Let's see what we got here.
All right.
I can extend it a little bit, I think, 20 minutes. I think.
What is time?
What is time? What is time? Oh my God, 20 minutes. Ah, I gotta go. Yeah, that's time right there. No. I know. What is time? Very interesting, right? I started to think about time. Uh, of course, everybody thinks about time. We always wonder what is time, right? And we
Mm,
always wonder, why does time go so fast, right?
mm, mm,
Uh, I heard about a concept several years ago on a radio show. And the host was talking about the quickening of time. To
mm,
him, it seemed like time was getting, and not only his age, but this day and age now, right? The time was moving even faster than it
mm.
had in the past, and it continues to move faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. What is your take on that? And he
Um,
called it the quickening, right?
yeah. I don't feel that at all. I mean, I feel that if anything,
Yeah.
I feel that time has slowed down, and because developments are happening so much faster. The amount of new things that appear in any time period now is so much more. It seems like, okay, so you know it used to be, I mean, talk about computers. I used to build computers myself, and you would buy the latest computer CPU or whatever, and the RAM and so on, and that particular CPU technology would be good for 2 or 3 years, before it would really be eclipsed by the next generation and so on. And now it's like every 6 months. So that what used to be, so for example, take a 3 year period was one generation of computers, and now that same 3 year period, the same time period, is now 6 generations of computers. So more is happening in that same amount of time. So it seems like the time is busier, but yeah, I view it as going, time is going slower in that regard.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, interesting notion.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, interestingly, when we talk about time like right now, right, and the next second that's going to come, those are, to me, of course, those are the most important moments, right, that we have now, and like the second coming, right, that's going to move up to us, right? So yeah, I mean, time has this kind of feeling of movement, right? Doesn't it? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Moving somewhere, moving to forward, or however you want to put it, right? There's a time, there's a feeling of movement. Yeah. I tend to think of time like it's just like everyone is right here. Like, this is time. Yeah. This is nothing. This is the future. Okay. And everyone is at this level. This kind of, it's almost like a starting gate, but like a gate, right? And everyone is right there. Boom, 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 right? And we're just all creeping up like this. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
A little bit forward, right? Moving forward. We visually, that's kind of how I tend to visualize it, right?
So do you visualize?
Right?
Do you
don't know what's going to happen the next over here in nothingness yet, right?
Right. But
we knew what happened.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You remember, you have memories, but you don't have foresight. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you visualize, is your image or your idea of time fluid or discrete? Continuous or discrete?
Oh, yeah. Good question. Good question. Yeah, very good question. I think. Does my visualization fluctuate? You mean?
Oh, okay.
Or
so all right. So
my meaning of time.
Okay. So take, for example, a movie, right? When you watch a movie, right, you see that as the people moving and so on, right? I mean, that's the impact, that's the visual impact that it has on you as you watch the movie. But we know that it's so many frames per second, and each one of those frames is actually a still shot, and it's the difference between those two still shots that our brains interpret as that movement, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is,
indeed.
time, that movie film is time like that movie film, where each, so each second, or I mean, so I guess the Planck time, right? You've heard of that, right? Planck.
Yes.
Right. So
Planck's time, isn't it?
Right. Planck's time, right? So is there a Planck time? There is a Planck time, but is there an actual smallest unit of time? So that there's this time, and then and then it's the next time, right? They're actually distinct, or is it something that's just?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
Yeah.
I think. I think it can be discerned like it's incremental, like that. Small portions of time. Yeah. That kind of. Right. They're so small, and that's really an interesting concept, isn't it? They're so small that they're hardly noticeable, and they all tend to migrate into one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the movie, the movies, you play them at 60 frames per second, and it looks, that's, I see the guy moving, right? It's
exactly.
We have
Right,
no
right, right. Yeah,
perception.
I
We have
think so.
absolutely no ability to perceive, those, 60 separate frames that we saw in that 1 second period of time, right? It looks like a fluid motion, but
Hmm,
but
hmm,
it's not. Yeah. So
hmm,
yeah,
hmm.
that's
Yeah.
that's something that I'm particularly curious about is time, continuous, or are there discrete units that it's actually broken up into? That's fascinating to me.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about
Um,
there's also people who believe that time is right, past and present and future actually are all rolled into one. Yeah.
right,
So
right,
everything is already all there, right?
right, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that
No.
fits with Einstein's relativity theory of relativity,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, it makes sense, which means though that to a certain extent, we must be living in a deterministic universe, because
Hmm,
if the
hmm.
future is already has already happened, or whatever, if you want to look at it from our point of view, what we now view as the future is
Yeah,
actually not the future from some perspective. Then it's already
from some
happened, and so
perspective,
what's
right?
going to happen
It's
has to
already
happen,
happened.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Has to, yeah, exactly. So in there, therefore, it's deterministic. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
Right.
yeah. That's yeah.
You
That's
know,
that's philosophy, but that's just like,
it's just
whoa.
yes, I know. It's like woo, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, amazing,
What
amazing thoughts.
what
Yeah.
was that? Time is the concept with which we measure our idea. Time is our age. Time.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know what you mean.
uh, no, Bob Geldorf, Boomtown Rats. Time is
Right, right.
like clockwork. Yeah, like clockwork
Uh,
in the movie, in the
Time is the essence. Yeah.
time is the essence.
No, no, I'm just said that. No, no meaning.
The
Go ahead. What
time
were you going to say?
by so this is it's a song by Bob Geldorf of the Boomtown Rats, right? What is it? Let's see if I can find it here. What? No, that's not it. Crapola.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's not what I was thinking of, Daniel. But anyway, do you remember the nuance of it?
Wait. I got it. I got it. I got it. Got it. Let's see. I'm on your side for a while. She thinks time is a concept by which we measure our pain.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's
like
just
that
well
lyric.
because
Time is the concept
and
by
then
which we measure our
they
pain.
they say that time heals all wounds, right?
Yeah.
You know
Okay.
uh,
So I feel kind of like I'm being wounded by growing old, and time certainly is not mending that wound.
yeah. Well, okay.
Right. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah. There's another cool song. Did you see that movie Less Than Zero?
oh
Remember
yeah.
that movie?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. With
James Spader, Robert
Robert
Downey
Downey
Jr.
Jr.,
Yeah.
James Spader. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. There's a great song in that movie relating to time. Time, time, time. See what's become of me.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, that always struck me as a really great song because yeah, I mean that essence happens right the older we get, right?
Yep.
See what's become of me, you know.
Yep. Yep.
Look what happens over the passage of time,
Who does that
right?
song?
So I forget. I think the song was originally Simon and Garfunkel or Paul Simon, I think, and it was someone else in the movie. I forget who actually did it.
Ah,
I
okay.
can actually look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, time. Time is another thing. I
What
mean,
was it? Yeah, time is amazing. Hazy Shade of Winter. That's
Right.
what it's called.
Yeah,
right?
that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hazy Shade of Winter. Right.
Hazy Shade of Winter.
Soundtrack of film Less Than Zero. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. And yeah, it was okay. Bookends, right? It was Simon and Garfunkel, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Simon
it was
and
on
Garfunkel.
Bookends originally, yeah.
Yep.
And the Bangles, okay, the Bangles did it for that.
The Bangles
that
did it.
The
Oh
Bangles.
my God, the Bangles.
The Bangles, yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the Bangles.
You remember them, don't you, Daniel?
Yeah. What did they sing?
Man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the Bangles. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of time, time's catching up with us now. We can't remember what they sang. Yeah, the Bangles. Yeah.
The Bangles.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a blast from the past.
They're not the ones that did Walk Like an Egyptian, did they?
No, that was
that was about the same time.
10, what was it? 10, yeah, 10, what was it? 10,000 Maniacs, was it?
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fun song too, right?
Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yeah. That was Walk Like an Egyptian. Oh no, wait. No, that was the Bangles.
It was? Okay.
That was the Bangles. Yeah, that was the Bangles. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, 10,000 Maniacs Tonight. I'll say sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
you remember that one pretty well there, Dan.
Yeah, Manic Monday was one of their big hits.
Wish it was a Manic Monday. Yeah. Sure, that's still a good song, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Manic Monday, Walk Like an Egyptian. Those are the two that Oh, the Hazy Shade of Winter. That's right. They covered that. Yeah.
Hazy Shade of Winter. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Why was Walk Like an Egyptian banned?
It was banned?
I didn't know that. It was banned by both by the BBC in 1991 and Clear Channel Communications in 2001. The purpose of this was to avoid offending those who would relate this song and its reference to Egypt and the conflicts in the Middle East. Wow. Okay. I guess there were conflicts in the Middle East then. Yeah. Walk like an Egyptian. Remember that?
Oh man, all right, okay. Yeah. I mean, people can choose to be offended by just about anything, Yeah,
totally, man. Dan, I hate to say it. Speaking of time, man, I'm gonna have to get the time moving here on doing a few things, but I would love to continue this because you have a couple more questions. I take it, yes.
Oh yeah. I got at least a couple more, a couple of good. Oh yeah, okay, a couple of good ones I think too. So yeah,
save them for later. Maybe we can pick it up either later today or tomorrow morning.
All right. Yeah. What are you thinking? When you got time?
Oh wait, this evening might be hard. I've got to go to a presentation today. Maybe tomorrow morning at 10ish. We can do.
All right, tomorrow morning 10 would be a possible. Yep. Mornings 10 o'clock are generally pretty good for me. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
All right.
Let's plan to do that, Bucko.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey Dan, don't let the time catch up with you, man.
Oh yeah. Time. I'm always in the now. I am always in the now. Right.
That is the place to be. Yeah, man. Presence yourself, be in the now.
Yeah, the only place to be. That's right. All righty then. Thanks everyone. Thanks.
Thanks everyone for watching.
We didn't have a lot of comments
Thank you, Dan.
today, though, did we? Yeah. Candy was here, and that was appreciated.
Candy was there. That's good. Thank you, Candy. 35 or 36 people watching. That's cool. Great. Yep. Thanks for watching, and we'll do this again.
We will do this.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.